back to the couple review. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally back, and we're going to stick to it. We're going to be on top of it this time.
Wait, we're sticking to it?
Yes, we are.
Wait.
Are you sure?
Are we going to be consistent? Wait, we're going to be consistent?
Consistent.
Well, this is new.
Yes, it is new for us. So anyway, we're going to be starting at the beginning of one of the greatest series ever created in movie history with a rewind review today. We're looking back on Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Padme?
This is my take on Padme. I didn't say I was exactly Padme.
Okay, but you're pretty close.
I'm pretty darn close.
So
Not
anyway,
that close.
How long has it been since you've seen Phantom Menace? You don't have to watch.
I know, but 2 hours ago.
I meant since then. Okay.
A week ago.
A week ago? Okay, well, I remember when I first saw it way back when I was a kid. I think I was like...
I don't remember.
I think it was 10 when I first saw it. Back in 2003. So, and I just remember the biggest thing, my favorite was an awesome character that was introduced was Darth Maul, because he was an actual evil looking character. I mean, you know, Darth Vader was, but he had like the horns, like, you know, and the evilish kind of tendencies and everything. So, I don't know. What'd you like about the movie? Like looking back.
Looking back to a week ago.
Or 2 hours ago.
I just like how, like, I guess challenging the the movie was to make in general, and like how it, like, still even to today, it's not like something that you look back on and you're like, oh look, I can tell where they inserted that dude and I can tell they did this, this, and this. You wouldn't know unless you, like us, watched the Mandalorian documentary and they told you a couple of things about some of the older movies.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Like that this one was a lot of, they used, I don't remember the exact percentage, but it was a big amount of like models. Like the whole scene where Anakin goes and races the pod, does the pod racer. That was a whole model setup.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Most of the movie was.
I remember you saying that the whole Naboo city attack scene was all just a miniaturized, all miniatures, and they worked it in that way.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So, which obviously, and it still holds up. Some of the effects hold up today. Now, there's some spots in there where the CGI is kind of like iffy. Like, yeah, you can tell. Like Jar Jar Binks, you can tell he's obviously CGI. But you got to think, you know, this was back in 1999. CGI was
brand new.
Pretty new. I mean, it wasn't anything. It wasn't like in the infant stages, but it definitely was not something that was common in movies back then. At that point. So, I just remember my favorite part of the movie was the whole revolutionization of the lightsaber battles and how a lot more, athletic they felt than the original trilogy.
Oh yeah.
You know, like with Luke versus Darth Vader, it was kind of just ding, 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 ding. This, they're doing like flips and kicks, and they're doing a lot of spinning and hitting, and the choreograph was just great during the whole Duel of Fate scene with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. I thought it was pretty cool to, you know, just to rewatch that and to see that whole scene play out, because it really set up the future franchise for the rest of the time.
Yeah, most of the franchise.
Most of the franchise, yes. So, I mean, it was episode 1. I mean, it took over and it started the story of Anakin Skywalker, who eventually became known as
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Why'd you go? What was that for?
Like, I mean, Anakin's for.
He's a 10-year-old child.
Not Annie. Anakin in the next one.
Oh, okay, gotcha. When he's growing up, Hayden Christensen, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I know you love Ewan McGregor. That's yeah. Well, I save that for the next one. Save that for Attack of the Clones. We'll get to that. Don't worry. So anyway, going back, you know, we'll do our whole rating thing again. What would you give it? I guess.
Oh gosh.
Out of 10. Out of 10, and you got to include everything from visuals to music to fight scenes, all that stuff.
10.
You give it a 10? Really?
Because you don't see that good of acting all meshed together. Like, all the fight scenes, all the CGI, all the effects actually meshing well with the actors.
So are you taking this as a 10 out of 10 back in 1999 or a 10 out of 10 now?
Well, I still think it's a 10 out of 10 now. Like, it still beats movies nowadays because I think we go overboard with some of the CGI where they needed it only where they needed it. Like, honest to goodness, we can't create this, we can't make this in real life, we have to use CGI to make this. And they made it as realistic as possible, where nowadays we have freaking things like Sharknado and random crap that...
So I think that, I mean, personally, I think it would still be like a 6 or 7 out of 10 for me. Hear me out. So it's pretty conflicted among the fandom. It's well known that this is one of the more conflicting stories, but it introduced a little bit of aspects to the stories that broke a little bit of the mysticism of it. So the Force was supposed to be this mystic ability, mystic thing throughout the universe, but then they introduced what were called the midichlorians. Remember how Qui-Gon talked about those, and they were like living in your cells, and that's a big controversy thing. I didn't really like that plot because I felt like that kind of took away from the mysticism of the Force, rather than it just be, actual mystic and like you have to like learn to progress it. It's like, oh no, if you have more midichlorians in your cells, then you're more powerful, and that's how it works.
It gives you the opportunity to be more powerful. That's the thing.
And it gives you the opportunity if you capitalize on it.
Yes, and if you know about it. But like, I think it's still, the whole Force thing is still very mystic because, like, I mean, you wouldn't know unless somebody was like, let me test your blood, bro. Oh, you got some good midichlorian counts. You got a better chance.
Which is literally what Qui-Gon did with Anakin.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
But, I mean, he had a gut feeling. He needed a way to be able to be like, 100% sure. And then with the whole prophecy of the chosen one and all that, that kind of makes it more, it's easy to pinpoint, okay, we know it's him. Or thought.
So who was your favorite character in this movie and why? I'll give you mine. Qui-Gon. How'd you know? Okay. Yes, Qui-Gon Jinn. Because...
No, I wasn't guessing your favorite character.
Oh, that's yours.
You told me to say what mine was.
Oh, I was saying I'll tell you mine, and I said Qui-Gon. So yours is Qui-Gon too?
Mm-hmm. Because for me, I see him as like the older version of Obi-Wan. Like, if you look at it and you see his relationship with Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan acts the same way Anakin does later on. That's why him and Anakin butt heads so much later on. But he takes on the same kind of personalities, the same mindset as Qui-Gon, except for the fact that he's very, I guess, strict within his beliefs about the Force, whereas Qui-Gon believes in love and hope and all that, whereas Obi's afraid that the slightest bit of love or hope or attachment is going to make you fall apart.
And my thing is with Qui-Gon, why I like Qui-Gon the best is because he's different and he's standing away from the normal Jedi. As you notice, he butts head with the Council a lot in the movie, and he talks to them and he disregards whatever they what they say, because he sees it as he wants to go more where the Force is leading him, not what the Council says. He's a little bit of an outcast of a Jedi. He's different from most Jedi because he believes that, like you said, you should be able to have a little bit more free will as a Jedi and not just follow some code that was created. And he believes, what he believes, and his passion for what he believes is, kind of tossed in the can by the Jedi Council, but he still is full on for it.
Well, I mean, you can see it later on with Obi-Wan and Anakin. They do the same thing. They butt heads with the Council all the time. There's times that...
Not Obi-Wan. Anakin does.
Oh, yeah.
Not Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's all, yes, Council, I'll listen. Anything you say, Council.
Sometimes their decisions go against him, but
sometimes,
most of the time,
he's not as rebellious as Qui-Gon.
Oh, no, definitely no.
Qui-Gon is a lot more rebellious, and he straight up says, I don't care what the Council says, I'm training you.
Yeah.
So, that's what he says to Anakin. So,
I still wish he could train Anakin.
That would have been interesting to see, but...
Oh my
But yes, that was my favorite character. So I would still say a 7 out of 10 though. Liam Neeson though with Qui-Gon did a fantastic job. He's a great actor. As Ewan McGregor, you know, with his breakout in Star Wars there, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So anyway, do you have any other last thoughts about this?
Nope.
Before we roll in next week to next Star Wars Saturday, which is what we're going to be calling these from now on, Star Wars Saturdays, and we're going to roll next week to number 2. Do you remember what the name is?
No.
Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah.
Attack of the Clones. So anyway,
they're all meshing together. I can
know there's a
kind of
lot
split
of
them up.
Skywalker, Rise and Fall, and Empire, and Blaster Gun.
We're not going to talk about the.
Now we'll get there in 9 weeks. Don't worry. Well, no, actually 11 because we got the in between movies.
Oh my god.
But anyway, we have coming up. Our next video will be on what's Monday.
Marvel Monday.
Marvel Monday. We'll be starting chronologically with your favorite character, Captain America.
The most humble of them all.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed this rewind review, and you guys have a wonderful night.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Okay, can I take these earrings off now?
Sure.